Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 55th episode of Let's Talk About Market. In the past couple of days, we are seeing some nervousness in the market, and there are some indicators that also seems to be rolling over. Does it mean that we are headed into a bigger correction or what? These are all the things that we need to talk about. So there are, as I mentioned, there are some indicators that seems to be rolling over, and this is where now a greater conflict occurs, where technically the prices are holding the important levels, but there are some indicators that are rolling over on the downside. So what does it mean for the short term? What does it mean for the medium term? I think this is what the discussion point should be, and I think today's session will be largely. Uh, I think it will be a very good learning curve. That is because when there is a divergent move seen in indicators and prices and how to deal with that. I think I mean this episode will largely address that, and I think it should give you a different perspective altogether. From the time that we have discussed, usually we have seen those trending markets where the indicators and price action have been in line, but now we are seeing some diverging moves. So let's dive into it quickly. Let me share my screen, and I think I might get a lot of questions today. So let's see. Anyways, please confirm once you all are able to see my screen properly, and if you all are able to hear me, then please put a confirmation in the chat box so that we can get started. Can you all able? Are you all able to hear me and see my screen? Please, confirmation would be helpful in the chat box. Uh, Okay, I think I've got the confirmation from the team. So, okay, thanks, Pawan, for confirming. So, let's get started. So, firstly, for the Nifty index, frankly, I was hoping that the 40-hour exponential will be held and the Nifty index might inch higher after that. Yesterday, we did hover around that and we closed over here, which was around the 40-hour. So I was a little hopeful that, it might make a comeback. In fact, today's move in the Nifty index in the initial hour on the upside, I thought that, maybe the short term correction is done and we could be headed higher. But I think now the other scenario which I was talking about, this seems to be playing out, which is, this is a range that Nifty index had formed, and possibly it can come back towards the lower end of the range, which is 25,700. Now, earlier I said that I don't think that there should be a deeper correction beyond this range, but there are few things that I'm watching very closely. So, firstly, on the daily RMI, there is now we are getting a sell crossover. So, do we? Does it indicate that we are going to fall to these levels? I'm not sure yet, and I'll tell you what are the data points that I'm watching out for very closely. So, on the weekly chart, I would like to see what is the weekend. What is the weekly close that we get? If we get a negative weekly close today, and to get a negative weekly close, the Nifty index has to close below 25,795. Okay. So if we get a negative weekly close, then yes, this risk opens up that a correction probably towards the 20-day or the 40-day is possible. I would be watching out very closely how do we close by the end of the day. If it's about 25,795, then we will end up saving the we will end up with a positive weekly close, and that will still keep the hope alive that this is just a minor consolidation and then the index can rise higher. But if there is a negative weekly close, then somehow we'll have to be a little bit more prepared for a correction probably towards this averages, and we'll have to take it from there, right? So So this is one thing. Now the other thing that I was saying, that why we are seeing some rollover in the indicators as well. If you see the FI's positioning, all this while they were cutting, but in the last two consecutive days, they have been shorting, right? So just to give you a context, if we see the derivative data in absolute terms as well, okay, if I do this, so on 30th, they created a short position of around 10,000 contract, and they covered long position on 29th, which was day before yesterday. Okay, that was the time I think that Nifty even rallied. So yeah, it was this up move. So over there also they did minor longs, but majorly they added short. So that's why they were net short by 6,100 contracts. So in 2 days alone, they have again shorted 18,000, and that has now resulted to net position again going back to minus 1,10,000. And if you notice, we have changed the indicator line, the level for especially for the FII. We have made it now, 1,13,000 contract around, and the other line is somewhere around this 1,90,000. That is because now there has been two bottoms that are made. So we keep changing the range based on the data, right? So if the overbought oversold level seems to be changing, then we end up changing these kind of levels. So yes, but I think the primary trend that I think we should be getting into the short covering mode. I don't think there is any change to that view. It's just that sometimes you don't get a straight line, but there will be some ups and downs like this, and we should be rising higher. So this is what frankly I'm thinking about. And the other thing is that I had spoken about this, right? That the percentage of stock about 20 SMA, that seems to be dipping a bit. But as you can see in the past as well, especially when the markets are trending higher, like you see over here, right? So you will get higher readings then on the pullbacks. You will keep getting lower readings. You will end up forming divergence. So over here also you can see that you will end up forming divergence, and the index might keep rising, and then there will be a small correction which can push the indicator towards the lower end of the range, and then you again start the move on the upside. So this is what frankly right now I'm expecting. So if we don't end up getting a negative weekly close, then I would expect that we should be heading higher, something like this. And in the indicator, we might end up forming some divergence until the until there is a decisive price action breakdown. At this point of time, there is no decisive price action breakdown. All we are seeing is consolidation, and there is a little bit more pressure which has come today on the bank nifty. So there was a news that broke out that SEBI wants to cap the weightage of the stocks. Uh, Wait, yeah. So SEBI wants to cap the weightage of the stocks within the index. So I think HDFC Bank has 33%. So that will be now capped to 20, and they have put those framework. So due to which technically there can be selling in those stocks, well, because the weight reduction will happen and so on, and due to which we have seen a minor correction. But over here as well, this ideally should be the range in which the correction should unfold, uh, something like this, right? This is the range in which the correction should unfold, in which case it can drag the nifty, the bank nifty index lower towards 57,380 kind of levels, which is still like 300, 350 points away, which is like a 0.5% from current levels as well. So I mean, that is the near term risk that is there. So over here also in bank nifty, until yesterday, the 40 hour was holding, but today it has given a close below that, and especially in the I mean this hour candle. So yeah, so that's where the risk opens up for a bit more of a correction. But again, as I mentioned, so what is happening also right now is that while there are some sectors that are going down, but again, PSU Bank is rising higher. FMCG, because of ITC, it has made some comeback over here. So that way, if you see the heat map, in fact, even autos are doing well. And if you see the heat map, so some of the other stocks are coming to the rescue, and I think this is what is going to happen, and that's where sticking to the outperformers will make more sense. Because even if you see today's Nifty chart, right? Eicher Motors, then Hero Moto, these are the ones that are actually doing pretty well and saving the Nifty index to some extent. And so yeah, I mean, you can see NBFCs. I was seeing Shriram also that was rising higher, and we had spoken about this, that many of the financial services names, especially the NBFCs, are also doing well. So that way we'll end up having some rotation. So see, the broader point that I'm trying to make is that there is no change in the larger view, which is of that Nifty index rising higher. But temporarily, we are seeing some blip. Now whether we end up seeing just a minor consolidation, or we end up seeing a little more correction towards the daily averages, which are say somewhere around so daily averages, if I put 20 and 40, so that is around 25,500 to 25,350. So I mean, are we going to correct to that extent? I mean, this is the only thing that that is the only risk that we have to manage in the near term. But otherwise, I think from a medium term perspective, nothing has changed. All now I would want to see is that all the short term indicators, that is where some turnaround should start happening, which is that if you see the swing, probably if swing comes back to 20 or so, and then after it turns around, I mean, that will be a much more relief, and we'll get a better trade setup as well. Even the PCR in the past 2 to 3 days, it has started to dip a bit. So OIPCR, again rising higher, will give us some confidence. Because as I told you, when the markets are trending, you will end up seeing like this, right? See, over here also the reading was very high over here, and after that, there were ups and downs which were happening more frequent, and that was leading to divergence. And after that, we ended up getting one correction, right? So so far, will we get directly a deeper correction, or will we inch higher and then we get a deeper correction, is something that we have to watch out for. But as I mentioned, I think the most important thing will be the weekly close to monitor, right? If we get a negative weekly close, then yes, there is a risk of some bit of correction or consolidation in the near term. But yeah, that's about it that I would think. I won't go to the extent of saying that this is a double top, and we might end up going down big time and so on. Because still, if you see many of the medium term indicators, right? If you see the medium term setup that we have discussed, they are mostly still towards the extreme ends only. Some bit of cool off has happened from very extreme levels, but they are still towards the extreme levels. And we have not seen any of them going to the other end of the other end of the extreme. So it's only when they come towards the other end of the extreme, which means that client plus FII goes over here, client position come down towards short, because they are usually net short at the tops, and FIIs become extremely bullish, and they go towards the on the upside, and over here breadth also increases materially. I think those will be the time when we will need to be a little more careful. At this point of time, frankly, looking at the data and looking at the way things are unfolding, I would just tend to guess that this is just a minor blip that we are having, and within that minor blip, is it that Nifty ends its correction somewhere around 25,700, or it goes to the extent of testing the daily averages, is something that we need to monitor. And for that, for those things, watching out all the data points will be important, and how they unfold. But as I mentioned, there are a lot of stocks and sectors which are already anyways doing well, and I think that will continue. And even if you see in the last 2 to 3 days, right? So you can see over here that while the Nifty index, there is a risk of a negative weekly close. If you see the mid cap index, I mean, it is so far up 1%. If you see the mid cap index, small cap index, it is up around 1%. So the broader trend of small and mid cap starting to outperform, I think this will continue. So while the Nifty index may end up getting into range or something like that, you might end up seeing action beneath the surface. And so far, even we are seeing that, especially in the bank Nifty, right? All the large cap banking stocks, they seem to have taken a backseat, but all the smaller ones are coming back. And I think this is what rotation that you're going to see probably within these sectors as well, where, say for example, IT or something, the mid cap IT are doing well, and large cap IT are relatively underperforming, and so on. I mean, these are the trends that will happen. So watch out for those trends, and watch out for the setups that we have been talking about, right? So anything that is about 2040, where the cycles are getting complete and giving us a bullish crossover, I think that's where the momentum will pick up. Maybe uh, we should not overthink much about things, and rather focus on the trend, and be with the trend. And I think that's where you will end up benefiting for yourself. And see, the other thing that I can tell you is that wherever the trends are there, so say for example, I mean, yesterday I saw CanBank result, right? Canara Bank. So the results were very good, and if you see that, there was a nice pattern also that was developing, right? Up move, consolidation happening, again an up move, then there was a pullback, and you can see that in this case 20 was not breaking and it is inching higher. So this is what precisely what I want to say, that while the Nifty index and might be doing their own thing, there are stocks which are trending higher. So all we need to do is that pick up those trending stocks, right? And try to ride them. Now, say for example, if Nifty index has, now see, I'll give you one more interesting scan, right? So say for example, Nifty index has bottomed over here. Okay, let's take it 29th August. So what scanner I'll run is that, and this I would actually try and run firstly on the Nifty 500 stocks. If that scanner doesn't work, I mean, or if I get some very less results, then what I'll do is that I'll try to run on a broader basket. Okay, so let me tell you what scanner I'm trying to run. uh, let's take Nifty total market. Okay, and the scanner will be that on daily chart. Okay, so say Nifty for example had closed above 4th September. Even let me see small and mid caps. Okay, let me take 8 September. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is that I'm putting it in a look back period. Okay, let me remove the look back period over here. Now I am putting a look back period where I'm saying that give me the list of stocks that have that are trading above 40 EMA since 8th of September, right? So it will take from 8th close till today. So now these are the ones that are trading above the 40-day exponential average since this point, right? So even in this correction, basically they did not break the 40R. And the reason why I purposely took this close is because over here many of the weak stock would not come, because they might have broken the 40 day, right? So that's why I took this point as a reference point. So now you can see over here, all the stocks over here, these are mainly the strong stocks, right? Like you can see over here, Aster DM, from the top it has seen some pullback, right? But now if it comes back to the 40 and then it starts turning around, then the opportunity might arise, right? If you see Bajaj Finance, again same thing. Car trade, we have already spoken about car trade in our previous scanning as well, right? Over here also the 40 was not breaking and it saw a big bump up. So this is the advantage of being with the outperformers. And in to catch the outperformers, this is something that you will really like it. Like you can see over here, right? Eicher Motors, you can see up move and a very good consolidation happening, right? And it is into auto, and auto is outperforming. And now, if I actually put the setup over here, so this might actually fit in very well with the the setup that we look out for, which is that the stock completing and going back to the zero line. Okay, and now again we are seeing a bullish crossover. So so see, this is one way that we can end up finding good stocks, and the stocks which are already trending higher. Okay, Fortis, probably if it comes back over here and then turns around, then it will be an opportunity. Then it is Gabriel. Gabriel, you can see that it is seeing a consolidation and it is above the 40 hour. So, this is how you might end up finding very good opportunities in the stocks which have already been outperformers, right? Like you can see over here, GMDC, GPIL has already moved higher, HBL, Hindalco. Oh, I'm surprised to see Vodafone in this list. So yeah, Vodafone crossed it on 5th of September, and since then it is rising higher. IFB Industries, IMFA. Okay, IMFA is also, you can see a nice pullback over here, and again this is into metal sector, and now we are getting a bullish crossover. So again, this setup looks interesting. Indian Bank is already in the PSU basket. So that way, you're getting a lot of list over here. So all you have to do is that, be smart in your scanning and try to scan relevant things at relevant point. Now say if you're a medium term investor, right? So for medium term investor, you might want to see the weekly chart, right? So in this case, you can see that Nifty has barely broken 20-week, right? So over here, you might want to find stocks that have closed above. So in trading view, it takes start of the week, right? So what we do is that we take it as end of the week. So 15th April, after 15th April, we'll take the scan. So now I'm switching back to weekly above, and over here I'll do in April. I will do, sorry, I'll do 17th April, right? So now I am looking for all the stocks and I'll make it 20. Okay, so sorry, my bad. I'll have to take simple moving average because I saw moving average over there. Of course, you can even do EMA if you are following EMA. But let me, now this I am running on the basket of total market. Okay, because over there I'll get 750 stocks. Of course, if you want to find other stocks, you can very well do that. But see over here, in April it has come back. Over here it did not give a closing below the 20 week, and that's why it has come in the list, right? AB Capital, this is again an outperformer, you can see. And you can see all these moves, right? The ones which have been an outperformer, I mean, they continue to outperform. So that is how usually it is, right? So that's why, sometimes, you have to just understand how the market is and just simply chase the momentum, and that is where the opportunities will come. So all you can do is that this we are checking on a higher time frame, right? So you can put them in the watch list and then try and analyze what are they doing on the lower time frame. So this will really help you to get some sense of where is it that you want to look out for as an opportunity, right? So I think this one is a very interesting scan. I would encourage everyone to look back, experiment. I'm sure you will get some very interesting insights through this. And I think today's major highlight was how to react when you're seeing divergence between indicators and price action, right? So always give price action more importance and understand what the trend is. Once you understand that, I think you're a lot more prepared. For the outcome. So say for example, if frankly, if Nifty index, saying 15, 20 days ends up being at 26,500, 26,800, I won't be surprised, because while the indicators are giving that slowness in the momentum, or the momentum is weighing down, that is visible, but so far the price action is not cooling off. And and wh- and why do I say that is because when I see the other data points also, none of them has broken down in a way where I will be very scared or skeptical about, right? So it's only when the daily averages break on the downside, that's where it might be a little scary. Now people may say that, oh, it took so much of time for you to realize that now the weakness has occurred. But the thing is that over here also, if you would notice that consistently, we were maintaining that broader bullish stance only. That is because all we were expecting was a pullback over here, and every time the 40-hour was not breaking on the downside on the weekly chart, right? And eventually, when there was a bullish crossover in RMI also, that's where we turned bullish and we started becoming more confident of an up move. So that is how you will have to navigate it. If it is going to correct a big time, then you will only get indications as the correction unfold. But predicting right at the top that this bigger correction will unfold, I mean, that's at least I don't know that. Maybe the ones who claim they might be knowing, or they might be God, but it's very, very difficult to catch a top. And once the trend unfolds, only then you can start understanding, and you will do your risk management accordingly. So yeah, I think that was the discussion point for today. Mainly divergence in the index and how to do that between indicator and price action. And the second thing was how to scan more effectively and find the outperformers. So so broadly, this is what I wanted to highlight and express. If at all now you'll have any questions, we can take it up. um, Paul says, what about Maharashtra Bank? Bank of Maharashtra. Again, I don't want to get into stock specific, but let us see this case. That is because it is into PSU Bank and it's an outperformer. So let me see what is the setup over here. Bank of Maharashtra. And if I put that setup, so yes, over here, one thing that is visible is that there is a breakout from this range, and it seems to be sustaining above that. Now over here, the only tricky part is this only, whether it will correct till here, or it will go down till the 40-hour and then turn around. And in this case, see what is happening right now, especially in Bank of Maharashtra, is that the 20 days holding, okay, and it is trying to rise higher. So if I am bullish on this, and if I want to do an entry from a short term perspective, I'll have to go back to the hourly chart and try to find where is it that the opportunity arises, and where is it that I can do an entry, and where should the stop loss be, right? So this would be more effective, because on the daily chart, else I will have to wait for this cycle to come back to the zero line and then turn around. So, but yes, I mean, technically, as you can see over here, there is a nice breakout that has happened, and it seems to be consolidating above the breakout point. And over here also, it is holding above the averages. So the setup is good. Need to see how the momentum picks up. So, anyways, any questions on scanning based on the look back period, or anything? I mean, any questions on the indicators and divergence and how to deal with that? Probably I can help you clarify that. Any questions based on whatever we have discussed, or any feature of strike? I'll be happy to clarify those doubts. But yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, maybe if you all have missed this session, you joined late, do watch this session again. This will really help you to understand, how to deal with divergence in indicators and price, and more importantly, how to scan in such times. Because even while scanning, 2 3 stocks, we found out very good, right? Where the consolidation was happening and the RMI was turning around. Can you please tell about futures rollover? So over here, I'll be conducting a detailed session, this Saturday. Please do join us. So actually, I just realized Saturday is tomorrow only. So please do join us. Just go on our page. Okay, you will see over here that it's been retweeted. So it's been put in our India Charts account, which is our parent company, and over here, just go to the Zoom meeting and register yourself. Please note that this webinar is free, so anyone can join. And this is mostly for the positional guys. So no matter if you are a cash trader as well, it can help you identify some good positional ideas as well. So do join in, for the webinar. Over there, I'll be extensively talking about how to understand the rollover data and what to make of that, and what does it imply for the stock's trend. So all those things we'll be discussing in detail, right? So please do join us, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pramod, does RRG indicate a turnaround in any stocks before RMI scanner? So RMI scanner, whenever they give a bullish crossover, roughly around that time you will see momentum also, because see, RRG is a combination of two things, right? It is momentum plus relative strength. So see, now I'll show you this. Okay, it's a good question, and I think I have spoken about this many times, but let me once again repeat it. Right? You can see this is PSU Bank, right? You can see what is happening over here, right? See, this was the time where initially we started to see a turnaround in momentum, right? So let me take this point. So what date was this? This was 24th of October. I hope you will agree to this. So now if I take PSU Bank, if I take the daily chart, right? So 24th was over here. So see, this was a down day. Despite that, there was a turnaround in PSU. That is because the pace of the underperformance that was there, that was going away when we compare to the Nifty index. Because over here I've taken the benchmark as Nifty index, right? And then you can see that in the next 5 6 days, we have seen a good pickup in momentum. And now, as I mentioned earlier as well, when the momentum picks up, it is a precursor. I mean, it precedes the relative strength. So in easy language, if I have to say that, when relative strength improves, that's where you will end up significantly outperforming the benchmark. But when momentum picks up, that is an initial sign that eventually relative strength outperformance is going to come, right? So all you have to observe is such kind of patterns where the momentum is picking up, and then eventually the relative strength picks up, and that's where you end up making money. So this is what PSU banks was already hinting few days back, and now we are seeing this trend more clear, right? And you can see over here, on the weekly chart also, it has given almost 5 6% return, right, on the PSU bank itself, at the time where the Nifty index is largely flat. So yeah, I think I hope you understood, Pramod. And yes, one more thing. Your question was that can we pick up a turnaround first? So not necessarily, because see over here, if you see in RRG, on the daily RRG, I mean on the daily RMI, the bullish crossover had happened on 9th of September only, right? And after that, the averages have not broken. So if at all you would have missed this signal over here, maybe yes, then RRG would have helped you caught this rise somewhere over here, or even prior that. So the lower the time frame you will go, you will see those turnaround happening that way. But if you want to catch it early, I think RMI is the way, and it will help you ride it more smoothly as well. In RRG, despite, so you can see over here in RRG, basically it was around here, right? So it was from this point, if you see, the momentum has started to dip. So that was 6th of October, right? It was somewhere over here. And you can see what had happened. So in this phase, the Nifty index was doing very well, but you know, PSU Bank was underperforming, and that's where you ended up seeing, some pullback. So you have to understand that in relative strength, everything, I mean, in RRG, everything is relative basis. So over here, also Nifty index was rising higher, but the pace of the Nifty index rising higher was much faster than PSU Bank, and that's where you ended up seeing this, right? And now what is happening is that since 24th of October, since over here, the pace of up move in PSU Bank has started to be much more stronger than Nifty, and that's why you're seeing a turnaround over here. So everything is in relative sense, and over here in RMI, it is more of momentum of its own index, right? I mean, momentum of its own price action. So that is the difference. But I think if you combine both of them, it should be very helpful for you in identifying the patterns and trends. So that is what I would say. I hope that answers your question, Pramod. I don't know whether it made sense to you or no, but yeah, frankly, I look at it both the ways. Okay, great. Any other questions? Anyone? If not, then we can wind up this session. It's already 11:37. So I'll wait for a couple of I'll wait for few seconds. In regarding Indian Hotel, weekly is around 40 EMA and RMI is nearing crossover, and daily has already crossed over all averages. The momentum is not picked up. So this might be the case because in daily also it might be below the averages. Now, I'm seeing this without looking at the chart, but that is how it should be, I think. Yeah. So see over here, I mean, yes, you're not seeing a runaway rally, but we have seen some uptick and it is now actually around the crucial level. So see, you need a decisive closing above that. Over here also in the past, you see for 1 or 2 days they have closed, the prices have closed above it, but then it has again gone down. And yes, you are right that in weekly, but please understand in the larger context as well. And I think somewhere this is a very tricky stock now. That is because since last, I think 1 year or so, it has gone sideways. But all this while it was holding above the 40 week, and now it is breaking below that. So I'm not sure, how to deal with this. The only point where I will get more confidence is that when the prices starts trading above this zone, okay, and even on the daily chart, it starts trading above the 40-day and it ends up making some pattern, which is bullish. I think that's where I'll get a bit of a confidence. So over here also, when I draw the trend line, it is still below that, right? So maybe if breakout above this trend line and sustaining above it will probably give me some confidence that okay, it is ready to pick up. Else I will be a little scared, and I'll tell you very honestly why I will be a little scared is because its valuation, I mean, compared to its history, is on a next level, right? So while it is growing, that is all good. But if you see, so over here, I think PE, everybody would know that it's at 53 PE, and this, if you take a longer time frame, you will understand the context. So okay, because of loss making in between, I think EV to EBITDA, okay, EV to EBITDA also. Hmm. So see, this is what the problem is, that when the company posts losses, that's where the problem occurs. But now over here in the monthly setup, it is actually very interesting because it is at the 20-month average, I mean, there is still RMI that has not gone back to the zero line. So I think if the low of whatever 708 that breaks on the downside, then there will be a risk of prices moving back to the 40 month, and that is what the monthly chart seems to be indicating. uh, Wait, let me just pause the notification. Yeah, so that is what the monthly chart is telling. And when you go to the weekly chart, okay, so wait, let me do price to book also, because in such cases, price to book helps, because price to book or market cap to sales, those all indicator helps, because it does not get into those I mean, you get don't get the broken line, because this never go into negative zone, right? So over here also you can see that based on market cap to sales, it is at plus 2 HD. Based on price to book, it is at plus 2 HD. EV to sales, I mean, all those things, if you will see, apart from the earnings, these are all at 2 HD plus, right? So this is one reason why I am frankly a little scared. And this is what we learn, even in the strike valuation setup, right? That what you need to do is that when the prices are rising higher, you stay put till the time it does not come to the important levels. But now, say, if even from a longer term perspective, it has come to the 20-month average, right, over here, as we had seen. So let me wait, let me just leave. Every time this happens around 11:30, 11:40, I'll need to check. And this, if I open Google, I think it will work. Mm, Oops, I think. Are you all able to hear me properly? Okay, I think there is some issue with strike only. Let me check. Okay, probably that was the reason why I was not able to. Yeah, it's up now. I'll surely check this why it is happening, because it has happened couple of times now. We'll check with the developers. But yeah, anyways, what I was trying to say was that when we go to the max, see, this is the setup now, that we need to watch out very closely, that what Indian Hotel does. And I think this is a very good setup to talk on. That is because, see, over here from undervaluation, it went all the way to the upper band, and now it is forming a triangle. So in this case, 20-month becomes very important. If that breaks on the downside, so today is the month end close, in that sense, it will end up saving the 20-month. So see, if you want to take that risk and if you're confident about that, so what you can do is that probably on the daily chart, once it sustains above this or probably break out above the averages, then this can be the positional reversal level, and with which you might want to be bullish on the stock. But if this zone breaks, then all bets are off, because then there is a risk that RMI will go back to the zero line and the prices will correct back to the 40-week average, right? So this is how we probably deal with this. I hope you understood this, Mahesh, right? How to deal with such stocks. So always try to understand what is happening on the higher time frame, and then try to look at it, or what is happening on a lower time frame, and are there any signs of reversal or no. Again, Mitanshu, similar to Indian Hotel is HDFC AMC. So yes, I think you will have to keep a similar approach. Understand what is happening on a higher level. You have those valuation parameters over here, and then look at it what is happening on a lower time frame, and are we getting reversals or no. Okay, so that's how ideally you should be dealing with such stocks, because once they reach those overvaluation zone, you will always get those concerns. At least I get those concerns, and that's where then I be very vigilant on the price action and what are they telling for me to take any position. So yeah, I think that's it from my side today. So yeah, let's see. So two important things to monitor. How are the FIs now positioning themselves in the coming days? Watch out for that, because in the last 2 days they have been shorting. So whether that trend arrests or not, that is one thing to watch out for. And the immediate thing that you would want to watch is that whether we get a weekly negative close or no. For Nifty index to get a negative weekly close, it has to close about 25,795 approx. If it closes below that, then some risk opens up in the short term, maybe a 200-300 point further correction. But if it doesn't, I think I would be very hopeful of an up move from the current levels. So somewhere over here we should be bottoming out and we should be rising higher. That is what the expectation will be if the Nifty index ends up posting a positive weekly close. So with those thoughts, I'll leave it for today. But let's catch up on Monday and see what happens. And once again, there is a webinar tomorrow on Saturday on a rollover and how to identify trends for that. So go to our platform, our Twitter platform. Our ID is strike_IC. Scroll down a bit, and you will get a post over there. Please do sign in for that, and take the benefit of the free webinar. And we can also have a one-on-one conversation if at all you're feeling any other issues you're having or any other doubts you want to clarify. I'll be more than happy to clarify those doubts. Okay, so once again, thanks a lot for joining today, and let's catch up tomorrow for the webinar. And on the Monday we'll do this again, this live stream on Let's Talk About Market. So once again, thanks a lot and see you.